This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Gianna Norton, and today we are talking to Samantha. Welcome to the Icon Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, it's our pleasure. So let's go all the way back to the beginning and tell us where you're located and kind of what kicked off the start to your real estate journey. What caught your interest? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so I'm actually in Metro Detroit. I started in real estate 5 years ago. I had always loved houses. A lot of the people in my family are doing real estate. So originally I started out as an ISA on another team previously. And then 2 years ago, they let me go and I started Modus, which is my real estate team under EXP 2 years ago with 3 other partners. And we're going strong and I love it. And it's been super rewarding.
Awesome. And for those watching right now that may not know what an ISA is, do you mind backtracking to that?
Yeah. So when I first started, my background is in sales. So an inside sales agent, I was touching all the leads that came into the team. So when someone would call through any really lead source or call from a sign call, I would warm them up and then pass that off to another agent they would take them, and show them houses. Kind of the aha moment was when I became friends with some of the agents and I saw their paychecks as opposed to my paycheck as an ISA. And I was like, oh, I think I can do that.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously then you didn't start with an EXP brokerage. What is the number one reason that you made that jump to EXP, and what kind of pushed you there? Because it's not always easy making a big move like that, especially when jumping teams. So what kind of enticed you to do that?
So with EXP, I thought it was really interesting. The conversations were different. So previously when I was at another brokerage, it was always about transactions, and transactions are super important. That's where we make our money, right? Is transactions. But the idea that there were other ways that I could also build income and have income coming in was really interesting. And the fact that everyone wanted to partner in my area, there's different brokerages or brokerages that have, mini offices. There's lots of KWs or lots of Remaxes. And it always kind of felt like each office was kind of pitting against one another. At EXP, it felt like everyone was kind of in the same boat and we were rowing in the same direction. So I could call somebody, I'm in Michigan, but I could call somebody in Arizona and ask for help, or say, reach out to someone in Maryland and say, I saw that you did this. Would you mind sharing it with me? So collaboration was huge, but the fact that I could, make money in multiple different ways was so huge for me. And it made sense because I could build wealth for my family that would be passive. So I didn't always just have to be out showing homes.
Yeah, and that's great in that, really showcases the stock options, the revenue share, the collaboration that EXP has to offer. And you said, that's what you loved about it. There's an opportunity to build passive wealth for your family. And is that still the number one reason you're with EXP, or is there something that, you've fallen in love with within the process?
Yeah. Yes, I think being able to stay and build passive income with, I'm rewarded with stocks just for doing the job that I would be doing anyways. And I have a team. So onboarding agents onto my team, it just makes sense with rev share, but also just the system in general. The fact that I can be anywhere. When the pandemic hit, everyone else kind of went into this crazy, how do we operate virtually? And EXP was already doing that. They didn't have to refigure something out. So that's really great, right? If I want to go get my license in another state, I'm still paying only one cap. I'm not paying two. It allows me to work within this ecosystem that's growing so big, even across the world. and other places aren't able to give me that. So that's why I stay.
Yeah, and like the room for growth is just never ending, really, from what I've heard about EXP and from the wonderful icon agents that I've talked to. And that's what makes it so exciting for people that I like to refer to as hustlers. You know, there's always that next goal to be able to hit. And it always seems to come back to you guys, which is great.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question. So when it comes to work-life balance, you're obviously a hustler, you're an icon award winner. I mean, you sell houses, you have high production. What do you do in your personal life or routine to keep your emotional state healthy and just, you know, not constantly run yourself on burnout mode?
So I'm a mom too. I have 2 daughters, 7 and 3, and they keep me
Gosh,
so busy.
what ages to keep you busy?
Yeah, and they're a lot, but one, I think real estate's a lifestyle. It's not a career. So real estate's weaved into a lot of parts of my life. But because of that, I've been able to set some really strict guidelines for the way that I do business, meaning I don't miss bedtime more than 3 days a week with my daughters, and 1/4 of every weekend is set aside for my family. In the summer, I don't work on Fridays. I spend those days at the pool with my kids and my husband. So I've set those parameters in there to kind of protect me from burnout. But, you know, I'm a hustler. I like to work. I like to make money. And that has been definitely passed down to my kids. So every night when I sit down to dinner, my oldest says, "Did you sell a house today?" And if I say no, she says, "Why not?" And I've said to her, "Sweetheart, if I sold 365 houses a year, like our life, that would be great. And that's a great thing, but I would have no time or very little time." So that's some of the things. And then I'm a big person of routine. I like to get up early and get, the things that I know need to get done throughout my day. We run a team of 14 agents. So I have one-on-ones with them, checking in with my clients and getting my listings up. But I think like setting some standards for my personal time and making sure I always have time for my kids and my family, that's non-negotiable for me, has kept me from going crazy.
Yeah, that's a huge, like you set the boundaries out, which is great because it allows you to be high production while also enjoying your work life at home. And that's so funny that your little girls are on you about getting a house sold every day, Mom. Come on. It's not the discussion we want to have at dinner.
I know.
Not selling a house today. Every day,
yes.
Mom. So to the next point, you are on the Icon podcast, which means you're an award winner, a hustler, high production. What does that award mean? What does it mean to you? What benefits has it provided? I would love for you to explain that to us.
So one of the things when I joined EXP, when I was talking to other brokers and I told them like, I want to hit this goal, they kind of, I don't want to say laughed, but they were like, okay, you're never going to get that $16,000 in stock back, right? Like that's my cap, getting it back in stock. And they were like, well, that's really high. So I just kind of wanted to do it to show everyone, yeah, I can do it, and watch me, watch me.
Chip off your shoulder. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And so I think doing that, like reaching that level of production in a year, one, lets me know that it's possible. Two, getting, with fulfilling some of those requirements, getting that $16,000 back in stock is huge, right? It's building that generational wealth piece with my family, but it also puts me, in rooms with people who have lots of really good ideas. When you go to EXP Con and you get invited to the breakfast, I'm sitting at tables with other people who are super high earners, and they have really good ideas too. And if I can just take one idea from like mind share, it makes it so much easier. I don't have to come up with all of the ideas myself. I can just say, oh, like, wow, I'm going to try that. Like this week, I'm going to hold a community open house for a listing of mine that's going to go live because there are no listings in that neighborhood. And the hope is that will draw other people in that neighborhood to come see that house. It's a private invite only open house. And they'll want to have questions about, what their house would be priced at. So if I can pull a listing from that, then that's awesome for me. And that was taken from an icon table at EXP Con.
Wow, that's really smart. And again, that brings you back to the camaraderie, the community that you have within EXP to really lean on, and that virtual world that I mean, it's not so virtual. It is, but you don't feel like you're excluded. You really
Right.
feel like you're part of that team, which is really cool. It says a lot about, COVID made everybody go home and learn this virtual world, but EXP was already one step ahead, which they seem to be with a lot of their models.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, like, being in the virtual world and seeing people, they become less scary almost, right? Like when you follow people on social media and then you meet them, you feel like you already know them. Same thing with the virtual world. It's like, wait a second, are you the avatar that I saw at the meeting? Can I ask you a question? Like it just kind of breaks down those walls where I just wouldn't have had that at another company.
And it's really cool to be able to be connected like that. Like right now, you said you're in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Tennessee, and I've been able to talk to people today from Arizona, Georgia, so forth, all within the EXP realm. And they're so open to coaching. They're so open to talking. They're excited.
Mm-hmm.
They want that challenge. They want to encourage you to bring it on. They want to encourage you to beat them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Do you do any coaching, Samantha?
I just kind of started. So this year like I said, on my team, we do some social media, coaching. I always say, I don't care how many followers you have on social media. What I care about is how many deals you're getting from your social media.
Sure.
So, right now, last year, about 45% of my deals came from my social, just telling people like, I want your business. This is what I'm good at. Like, let me help you. So that's huge because it's free. Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't spending money on ads. I was just getting on every day.
45% is huge. That's a huge goal.
And the nice thing about social is I'm drawing clients who already decide they want to work with me. I'm not having to compete for that business. So when those clients call me, they know what they're getting. Like they know what shopping with for a house with Sam looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they know my personality. They've already bought into that. So I don't have to convince them of anything different. Right. I'm not sitting down at a table with someone and they're interviewing 10 agents and I'm having to explain my worth. They've already seen it. They're calling me. So that makes for a way better experience. And those clients tend to be, way more loyal. One off the top of my head, I think she sent me over $2 million in referrals. And she was from somebody that I met on Facebook. Like, wow. Yeah. And even just the conversations with other agents, like I'm getting referrals from other agents from other states and vice versa, just from the conversations we're having on social. So I do some of that. And like with my team, I do one-on-ones to kind of help coach them through their business. Because my degree is in public relations and marketing originally. So helping other
Makes
people.
Makes sense to me. Killing it with the 45%.
And, because who cares? If you have 10,000 followers, but you don't get a deal from your following, like that's not helpful.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Right.
And you're building that brand on socials and like really living that people don't buy a house, they buy you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool. I mean, I'm still just mind blown about that 45% conversion. That's amazing. That's pretty unheard of in a lot of industries. And I don't know about real estate specifically for the conversion from social media, but 45%, that is a huge chunk.
45% of my business. So from last year.
That's why you're an Icon Award winner. High production there, girl. Smarter, not harder, but you're smart as well. Now, you are an Icon Award winner. What would you tell somebody that maybe is new to the EXP world, that's maybe like aspiring to be an Icon Award winner? They don't know if it's worth putting their time into, like their first year. Maybe they're just getting a feel for EXP. Is it obtainable for them? Is that something they should shoot for?
I think why not? Like you should always shoot for the stars. Like when I started, I first started and it was like, if I could just, make $75,000 as an agent, that would be life-changing. And then it was like, I want to make $75,000 in a month. Right. And then like, you should always be leveling up. And so if you're not like wanting to be icon, like at this point, like I want to still hit icon, but I want everyone on my team to hit icon. Like I'm in the back room right now. There's some people out there that like they need to hit icon next. So I'm pouring in to them to make sure that happens. But why not? And you need to first look at your numbers. If you are not a student of your numbers, you are missing out. You need to know where your deals are coming from. And you need to know, like, I need to do $1 million a month. So if I only do $500,000 in January, where am I going to put that the rest of the month? I'm always paying attention to my numbers, not because, Well, I am obsessed, but you need to be obsessed with your goals. And I know what I need to do to hit them. So for me, when the year I hit Icon, it was I wanted to pay for a pool in cash, right? Now it's I want each of my daughters to have an investment property, so that when they're older, like I can give that to them. So whatever those goals are, like they should be big. They should scare you. If they don't scare you, you're doing something wrong. So Icon definitely is attainable. You just have to break it down into daily chunks of activity.
Right, setting those goals, almost working backwards. Like here's Icon, here's where I'm at, and let's move backwards from Icon to see what's next.
Right.
You put that wonderfully. Get your goals, let them scare you. Be scared of your goals, but go get them.
Right.
Because
Like it should be scary. Like exciting stuff starts out of your comfort zone. One of my husband's best friends told him that. Like every good thing in my life that I've ever gotten has been by making myself uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, like what's the point? Like growth doesn't happen from standing still.
Like you're settling.
Yep. Yeah.
That's great. That's a great way to put it. Great conversation. Out of all the Icon podcasts that I've done so far, I haven't really had one that's marketing based and very like self-aware and branding. And it's been cool to talk to you about that.
Awesome.
And EXP is right behind you on all of that. They support you in that. They throw referrals your way, and you're training your team on their social media. That's kind of what you guys are all about over there. Now, from an agent that's on the outside looking in at EXP, right? The typical stereotypes of, oh my gosh, this is a pyramid scheme. There's no way. This is too good to be true. I'm skeptical. Don't even try to talk to me about EXP. What would you have to say to them?
What do you have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
What is so good about where you're at right now? It's not always about like you can do business wherever you want. Like you can sell real estate wherever you want. It's about the other stuff that you're trying to do. And if you're not even willing to look at other money-making options, like what are you doing? You're in business, you're an entrepreneur, and you owe it to yourself to explore all options. If we aren't for you, that's okay, right? But not having the conversation and not being open to it, go back and Google, like if you were to Google articles in the early 90s about the internet, all those people that said the internet was a fad, how dumb do they look?
Yeah.
I mean,
really?
Right. Like every really crazy thing, right? Electric cars, when we were looking, they thought that was crazy. Now it's, NFTs and those things. Like every really big idea when you're trying to change people's perception of something is looked at as crazy and nuts. And went to the pyramid scheme thing, like work is a pyramid scheme. If you work someplace and you have a boss, you're in a pyramid scheme. Mm-hmm. If someone's making money off the hours that you work or your ideas, you're in, it's the way things are built, right? You have somebody above you. So it's just, are you in a position to be above someone else? Are you in a position to coach someone else and be invested, financially invested in their success? If not, you're in the wrong place. Like you should be. Because every other brokerage out there is in the people business as well. That's why brokers open up businesses, because they've got people. So I find it a little maddening when brokers say, EXP is a pyramid scheme, like they're just after recruiting. People I bring on, I want to do well. So I am actually personally invested in their success, but you're recruiting people just the same.
Right.
It's just, the ecosystem is different.
Right. And there's lots of benefits to offer with an EXP. And I guess, if you suppose that it's too good to be true, maybe you don't feel like you're good enough for EXP, and maybe you do need the time at a different brokerage to be able to realize that. But in all reality, what do you have to lose?
Especially from a conversation. Like I will take a conversation with literally anyone that calls me. Like a lender calls me, I don't know what I don't know. So if somebody wants to have a conversation with me, you never know what will happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And fact of the matter, if you're watching right now and you want to get in touch with Sam, I bet she'd be happy to talk to you.
More than happy to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Samantha? I'm a lot of questions. It's been a wonderful conversation with you.
No, I mean, I think too, if you're out there and you're like scared about jumping into real estate or starting a team, you should do it. We all know that there are a lot of agents who aren't any good out there. So I always want to be in deals and working with co-opting agents who are good. And if we can support each other, then our pie just gets bigger.
Right. No, and that's great. Like you said, there's only room for growth at EXP, and it's given back to you. And one of the interviews that I had previously said, you learn, you earn, and you return. That coaching and that, mentorship that there is to offer. So make sure that, even if you're not in the Michigan area, we're in a virtual world now. It's the metaverse. Reach out to her. She'll find time for it, and she'll be excited to talk to you about it. Samantha, thank you so much for joining us on the Icon podcast today. I look forward to talking to you again soon. And if you find yourself in the Nashville area, make sure you let me know, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.